If you had asked me 2 years ago if I believed in karma, I would have shrugged and said, not really. Back then, I thought life was about logic and choices. I believed that if you loved someone with your whole heart, stayed loyal, communicated, and did everything right, then things would work out. Love would win. But I've learned the hard way that even the strongest heart can be shattered by the person you trust most. And sometimes, life needs to tear you down before it shows you someone's true colors. This is my story. Claire was the kind of person who walked into a room and made people pause. Not because she was the most beautiful woman in the world, but because she carried herself like she knew exactly who she was and didn't care what anyone thought. I met her at a local art exhibit one Friday night. I was dragged there by a friend who insisted I needed to get out more after being buried in spreadsheets and code all week. I worked in IT. She was a creative, an interior designer who freelanced for boutique hotels and upscale condos. She wore this oversized mustard-colored blazer, chunky earrings, and confidence like a second skin. And when she laughed, everyone looked, including me. We hit it off instantly. I'm not the type to fall fast, but something about Claire made it easy. She was witty, sharp, and didn't play games. At least, that's what I believed. Our dates turned into weekends into shared groceries, and before I knew it, we were living together in my apartment downtown. Everything felt easy, until it didn't. The first shift was subtle. She started taking more phone calls in the other room. She said it was just work stuff, but she'd never hidden things from me before. She'd smile less during dinner, seemed lost in thought even, during movies she used to love. I chalked it up to stress. Deadlines, demanding clients, maybe a rough patch. Everyone has them. But it kept getting worse. She started dressing up a little more on random Tuesday nights, saying she was meeting with a new client. She started locking her phone, something she'd never done before. When I asked about it, she brushed it off. Everyone locks their phone. It's just smart. But the moment that gutted me was the night she came home smelling like a cologne that wasn't mine. I noticed it the second she walked in. Subtle, but unmistakable. I didn't say anything. I just stared at her and felt my stomach twist into knots. That night, I barely slept. My gut was screaming at me, but my heart was begging me not to jump to conclusions. The final straw came 2 weeks later. It was a Saturday morning. She'd gone to work early, but something felt off. I kept hearing this voice in my head. Check her phone. Check her phone. I hated the idea of going through someone's private messages. I'd always believed that if you need to snoop, the relationship's already broken. But still, I needed the truth more than I needed to protect my pride. I found her iPad in the drawer. We'd synced our Apple accounts when we first moved in together, back when we were both still romantic and trusting. She must have forgotten. As I unlocked it, my heart was racing like I was doing something criminal. But what I saw, that's what should have been illegal. Dozens of messages. Texts, photos, voice notes, between Claire and someone named Emma. Only Emma wasn't a woman. Emma was Jake, her coworker, and they weren't talking about furniture layouts or hotel projects. They were laughing at me, literally mocking me. He thinks I'm working late again, and bet he's home cooking for me like a house husband. The pictures were worse. Selfies of them at dinners, in bed, even on a trip to the lake I thought she had taken with her sister. Sat there scrolling for almost an hour, reading every lie, every fake excuse. I couldn't breathe. My chest hurt. My ears were ringing. Everything we had, every inside joke, every late-night talk, every plan for the future, crumbled like ash in my hands. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. It was the moment I realized that love, no matter how pure, can't survive in the hands of someone who sees your loyalty as weakness. When she came home later that day, I was sitting on the couch, iPad in hand. She looked at me and knew. She froze in the doorway, keys still in hand. "How long have you been cheating on me?" I asked. My voice was calm, eerily calm. I think I'd gone numb at that point. She blinked, then scoffed. "You went through my messages? That's what you're going with?" I asked. "That I invaded your privacy?" After everything I just saw? The gaslighting came next. It wasn't serious. We were just talking. I was going through a rough time and you were always so busy. It didn't mean anything. She cried, then she yelled, then she tried to hug me. I didn't budge. You need to leave, I said. She stared at me like I'd just slapped her. What? Where am I supposed to go? I don't care, I replied. That's not my problem anymore. That night, she packed a bag, tried to stall, begged for a second chance, promised it would stop. But I was done. Something inside me had snapped, and not in an angry way. In a way that felt final. After she left, the silence in the apartment was deafening. Everything reminded me of her. The wine glasses we'd picked together, the throw blanket she insisted we buy even, though it cost way too much. Her shampoo in the shower. I wanted to burn it all. The first few weeks were hell. I barely ate, barely slept. I replayed everything over and over in my head, analyzing every word, every look, every moment I should have noticed. I blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't affectionate enough. Maybe I was too focused on work. Maybe I wasn't exciting like Jake. But eventually, the shame turned to anger, and the anger became motivation. I started going to the gym. I picked up running. I went back to therapy. I even started painting again, something I hadn't done since college. I needed to rebuild the parts of myself that had been buried under compromise and emotional bruises. People don't talk enough about what it means to be cheated on. It's not just about someone else touching your partner. It's about the spiritual gut punch of knowing that while you were showing up for someone every single day, they were lying to your face with a smile. It messes with your sense of reality. You start doubting your instincts. You lose trust, not just in others, but in yourself. I never reached out to her again. She sent a few texts, apologies mostly. One message said, "I messed up, but I still love you." I didn't reply. I couldn't. She made her choice, and I made mine. Months passed. I started dating again, slowly, carefully. I told myself I'd never let someone get close again. But love doesn't work that way. You can't predict it, and you can't control it. All you can do is be wiser next time. The best advice I got during that time came from a stranger on Reddit. I'd posted anonymously about the situation, just needing to get it off my chest. Someone replied, "Let karma do its thing. The universe has a funny way of keeping receipts." At the time, I didn't know what that would look like. But I was about to find out, because karma wasn't just taking notes. It was preparing a grand finale that even I couldn't have scripted better. But that's a story for chapter 2. It was almost poetic, the way the universe finally responded. At first, I didn't see it coming. I had moved on. Or at least I was learning to. But karma wasn't done yet. It was just waiting for the perfect moment to turn the wheel, and when it did, the sound was deafening. About 9 months after Claire left, I was doing better than I had imagined. Therapy had helped me understand the emotional manipulation I'd endured, and I was starting to feel whole again. I'd gone back to school to get certified in UX design, landed a better-paying job, and even moved to a new apartment with actual sunlight and no memories etched into the furniture. I was in a good place, calmer, stronger, and surprisingly content. One Saturday, my buddy Theo invited me to this industry networking event at a rooftop bar downtown. Normally, I hated those types of things. Too many business cards, forced smiles, and conversations about tech I didn't care about. But something in me said, go. So I did. That night changed everything. As I walked into the venue, wearing my cleanest button-up and trying to look confident, I locked eyes with someone I hadn't seen in over a year. It was Jake. Claire's Jake. He looked different. Not in the sense that he had changed physically, but the vibe was off. He didn't have that smug arrogance I remembered from the pictures. His posture was stiff, eyes darting around like he was trying to avoid someone. Before I could even process it, he recognized me. His face froze. "Hey," he said, forcing a laugh. "Small world, huh?" I didn't reply at first. I wasn't sure if I wanted to ignore him or knock the drink out of his hand. But instead, I just nodded and said, "Didn't expect to see you here." "Yeah," he muttered, glancing around. "I'm freelancing now, trying to rebuild a few things." Something in his tone caught my attention. I decided to play it cool. "Freelancing? What happened to the design firm you and Claire worked at?" He hesitated. "Oh, we're not with them anymore. Long story." But I didn't have to ask. Over the next few weeks, the story unfolded through whispers, posts, and mutual friends who were all too happy to spill the tea once I showed even a shred of curiosity. Turns out, Karma had been busy. Claire and Jake had tried to go public after our breakup. She moved in with him, and for a while they played house. From Instagram, they looked disgustingly happy. Sunsets, brunches, matching bathrobes. But behind the scenes, it was unraveling fast. Jake was still seeing 2 other women during his relationship with Claire. One of them even showed up at Claire's birthday dinner and caused a scene in front of her entire friend group. According to someone who was there, she screamed, "You told me she was your crazy ex," before throwing a glass of wine in his face. Classic. Claire didn't leave him immediately. From what I gathered, she tried to salvage the relationship, probably because she had given up everything to be with him, including me. She'd burned bridges, lost her job after showing up late too many times, and her freelancing gigs dried up when word got around about the office affair. Apparently, clients weren't thrilled with hiring someone who had blown up her professional reputation for a guy who couldn't keep it in his pants. Then came the real blow. Jake had borrowed money from Claire to fund a startup he was launching with a few friends. She believed in him, just like I once did with her. She put in close to $12,000, drained from the savings account she used to plan her dream of opening her own design studio. It was all a lie. The startup didn't exist. It was a front for gambling debt. He ghosted her 3 months later. Just disappeared. Took her money, her laptop, and apparently even left her with 2 months' worth of unpaid rent. She tried calling him, texting, showing up at his old apartment. Nothing. He vanished like smoke. She found out later that he'd moved in with one of the other women, the one who threw the wine. I guess they reconciled. When I first heard all this, I didn't feel glee. I expected to. But what I felt was quiet. Not pity. Not joy. Just silence. Karma wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It just was. What she did to me had finally come back around, with interest. One day, I got a message on Facebook from Claire. My heart did that stupid flutter thing for a second, like a muscle memory from a life that didn't exist anymore. I shouldn't have opened it, but I did. It said, "I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but I wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. You didn't deserve what I did to you. I've lost more than I ever thought I would. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know." I stared at it for a long time. Typed a reply, deleted it, typed another, deleted that too. In the end, I didn't respond. What could I say that would make a difference? She wasn't reaching out for me. She was reaching out for absolution. But some apologies aren't meant to be accepted. They're meant to be understood, so you can finally let go. After that, I posted my story on Reddit. I titled it, "My Ex Cheated and Lost Everything, and I Didn't Have to Lift a Finger." It blew up overnight. Thousands of upvotes, hundreds of comments, people saying things like, "This is the karma we dream about," and "This is why you don't betray the one person who would have walked through fire for you." I wasn't seeking validation, but damn, it felt good to know others understood. One comment in particular stuck with me. It said, "Revenge isn't always about getting even. Sometimes it's about rising so far above the mess that the people who hurt you can't even reach your level anymore." That was it. That was the truth. I didn't become successful just to spite her. I healed because I needed to. Because I deserved to. Her downfall wasn't my victory. It was just the closing chapter in a story I had already walked away from. In the end, Claire became her own karma. She made choices that built a trap around her. All I did was walk out before it snapped shut. Today, I'm in a relationship again, with someone kind, consistent, and grounded. We talk openly, we don't play games, and I never feel the need to check her phone because I finally understand what real trust feels like. The lessons I've learned? If your gut is screaming, listen. Loyalty is a gift, not a guarantee. Karma doesn't miss, it just waits. To anyone watching or listening who's going through betrayal right now, don't seek revenge. Focus on your healing. Build your life so beautifully that the people who tried to destroy it become irrelevant, because eventually what they gave you will come back to them, and what you gave will come back to you in ways you never imagined. Karma keeps receipts, trust me.